The first card is Militia Commander. This is a 4-mana 2/5 warrior card with a new mechanic called Rush, and also Battle Cry, gain +3 attack this turn. So Rush is basically charge, except for you can't hit face. So you can compare this to Devilsaur, whose text is not changing, but it's the same idea. Devilsaur has charge and cannot attack heroes this turn, basically, right? To be exact, actually, sorry, Devilsaur does not have charge. It has Battle Cry, cannot attack heroes this turn, which means if you bring it in without, like if it's resurrected or brought out some other way, it can attack. This won't be the case, or should be the case for this card, except for it still won't be able to hit face. So it has Rush, it can hit minions, not face. This is actually super strong, and my first prediction here is that Blizzard is going to try really hard to bring Warrior and Shaman out of the dumpster. Ben Brode has said that Shaman is the only one who's getting a new hero card. I guess to make up for Thrall. If you saw the trailer that Blizzard did, it previewed that card as some sort of 8-drop, but it is the only hero card that's coming around this expansion. So Militia Commander is obviously busted in Arena. A 4-mana 5/5 is really, really good in Arena. It's pretty much guaranteed to trade with anything. Just smashes Tar Creeper. Maybe not as good in Constructed, unless mid-range decks could make a return. And that's not very likely. Dude Paladin and Control Lock are keeping a lot of their tools, which means that the meta is likely to stay between you'll have a really good aggro deck or a really good control deck, which in some ways is still progress for the meta, because control decks even being competitive, I feel like is a somewhat recent development. And then we have Pumpkin Peasant. It is a 3-mana neutral card with lifesteal. And it's either a 2/4 or a 4/2. That's actually the text of the card, is that it switches its attack and health every turn in your hand. So it's really flexible, obviously, and that is what is supposed to make this card good. It's definitely decent in Arena. Squirming Tentacle and Silverback Patriarch are just crying. But outside of that, I don't know how much play it's going to see. Don't get me wrong, I think the lifesteal mechanic is really strong. In fact, oftentimes, for those of you who play ladder regularly, the difference between aggro decks getting by you or not, whether they win, comes within about 10-ish, I would say, health. So you can turn the corner with just a little bit of extra health. Yeah, so especially, in Arena, this is good because of its flexibility, but outside of that, not so much. The next card is Phantom Militia. It is a 3-mana 2/4 with Echo and Taunt. Again, Echo is another new mechanic. It's just like Unstable Evolution, where once you've played the card once, it returns to your hand for this turn only, and you can play it again. I think the biggest thing to look at, and as Echo comes out and there are more cards, we'll get to have a better idea of this, is just how much it opens up possibilities for deck building, as well as filling out curves. This card is simultaneously a 3-drop, a 6-drop, and a 9-drop. And yes, you don't probably want to play it 3 times on turn 9 very often, but this is at least a reason that it's pretty darn good in Arena, because if you top deck it at the end, it's still, a lot of board. So, the place I think this card could see play outside of Arena is in Caverns Below decks. You might remember pre-nerf Caverns Below decks back when it was only 4 things, or you only had to bounce the card 4 times. Well, cards like Sonya Soda Dancer and cards like this make it so that, yes, the condition is still 5 times. It is kind of nuts how easy it is becoming to play a card 5 times. And again, even if you don't use this card as the card you play 5 times to finish the quest, it can be a 3-drop 5/5 that you can play 3 times when you draw it, right? Like, if you, again, top deck, you have nothing else, well, now it's 3 5/5s on turn 9. That's still pretty decent. As far as any other applications, maybe Taunt Warrior. Again, on turn 9, it's 3 parts of the quest. On turn 2, it's 6. So that has some potential. But outside of that, I don't see it seeing a lot of play. Um, there are going to be some good Echo cards this expansion. I have a feeling it's hard for them not to be good if you look at just the design of cards like Unstable Evolution, which is nuts in Arena and pretty good and constructed. Um, there's going to be some good Echo stuff, but I don't know if this is it. Next we have Azalina the Soul Thief. It is a 7 mana 3/3 neutral card again, battle cry, legendary, and it replaces your hand with a copy of your opponent. At first I thought this card was really good and that it might start to be the sleeper of the set, but then I thought about it more, right? So there's really 2 potential uses of this card. This card is either a refill in aggro or extra gas in control. So at first, I thought this card was like a neutral Divine Favor, but then when I thought about it more, it's not. And it's actually not just a little bit worse, it is way worse. The possibility of your opponent refilling your hand is terrifying, especially when aggro decks can do it, and that's how you're supposed to punish them, is by taking away all their cards, all their resources, and now you win the game. But the thing is that I'm having a hard time seeing a situation where these cards are going to push the aggro decks over the top. Yes, it's true, there could be situations where aggro dumps their hand leading up to 7, only has a couple cards, only has to toss those away, picks up like 8 cards. But most of the cards that they're going to pick up are not going to synergize with their cards like at all. Think of Dude Paladin trying to make this work. You pick up some Void Lords, some Possessed Lackeys, and a Zoth, and not a single one of those cards is going to help you finish the game. Your Lackey will pull out nothing. You don't have a Skull to cheat your Void Lord in. Your N'Zoth doesn't res anything. And the 7 mana 3/3 body is basically a turn off. So it might be able to help you live longer when you slam that Void Lord, but really you're just delaying your inevitable loss. It's not helping you reach your win condition. It's not making your dudes broken. Its second potential application then is extra gas and control. And this is the place where I think the card has some potential, although I still don't really think so. I think there are just more consistent options. Let's say you're in a N'Zoth Mage Mirror match, and you run out your N'Zoth, your Kazakis, but your opponent's been holding on to yours in order to remove your threats. Well, now you can play Azalina to try to get some of those cards again. But I think that, like I was saying, there are almost certainly better and more consistent ways to do things like this. Zola the Gorgon, Brewmasters, you would just rather have Azalina's slot be the gas, as opposed to using Azalina to look for the gas. The last 2 here, we have Baku the Moon Eater. He is a 9 mana 7/8 neutral card. At the start of the game, if your deck has only odd cost cards, upgrade your hero power. So these are, for those of you who have been playing for a while, Justicar's hero powers. Just look them up if you don't know what they are. And those are pretty good, but I think they used to be a lot better. And even if they are still good, it comes at what cost? Excluding half the cards of the pool is immense. And I don't think there are any decks right now that can afford to meet these conditions. There are supposed to be more odd cost card types coming, according to Blizzard, and these might help fill out the deck. But right now, it's just not good enough. The upgraded hero power hardly benefits anyone. Most would rather play their Death Knight and just replace their hero power. Baku gives no benefit to Death Knight hero powers. They're just replaced. Think about it, like Priest. Extra healing in the early games, not really helping them. Dude Paladin, in order to get 2 dudes summoned by that, which is fine, I guess, but like, you're giving up Call to Arms, Stegodons, Warlocks, Call to Arms, Stegodons, and Tarim. And, like, at that point, what's the point of even having the extra dudes? Assuming you can keep them around because you don't have the cards to do it. Like, you don't have things like Call to Arms to set up defense for you, or Tarim to set up defense for you, or Stegodons to even make those dudes worth it anyways. So, Warlock doesn't even really care, even if it could find a way to do this, about paying 2 for life tap anymore. And maybe Shaman would think about this because of the ability to choose your totem. That's really strong, but it would have to have a lot of Shaman support, and that's just not there right now. Some people have talked about it in Hunter, but I think that Crackling Razor Maw alone is enough of a reason not to do this. It also means you give up secrets and spellstones, and no Deathstalker Rexar, which a lot of times is the extra gas you need in order to keep up with control decks once you initially run out of steam. So on the other side of that coin, and the last card for today is Gen Greymane. He is a 6-mana 6/5 at the start of your game. If your deck has only even cost cards, your starting hero power costs 1. This is the same idea as Baku, but somehow even worse. Again, you are excluding half the card pool, and what are you getting out of it? First of all, now you can't have 1-drops. That is an awful philosophy for playing a Hearthstone game. But even beyond that, your hero power costing 1 is pretty much useless in the current meta. The only people who, again, might try it are Hunter. And they can try to use their hero power to fill out their curve, but then their ability to keep up on the board is probably not as good. Again, the spellstones go away, which has just been really pivotal for Hunter this meta. Zulok could think about it, but probably doesn't want to give up cards like Flame Imp, Councilman. It's hard to imagine it being worth it, especially because changing your hero power resets its cost anyways. So I think these cards really just become novelties because once again, you're going to play your Death Knight, and since it says you're starting hero power, that means that it's not the whole game. So when you replace your hero power, it no longer costs 1. So it's not even like you can, get your Deathstalker Rexar hero power to cost 1 or something like that, So for these cards to not be novelties, they need an absurd amount of support, and they don't have it now. I don't see Blizzard printing too much of any one thing. Considering that these first 5 cards are fairly diverse, it looks like there's a lot of categories for them to hit in this upcoming expansion. That means that something pretty broken needs to get printed that makes the odds and even things for these cards make sense. There has to be a good number of these cards, and they have to be strong for this to even really have a chance. Yeah, that's all the cards that are out so far for Witchwood. I will make sure to do the upcoming ones. So if you like this review, please follow the channel, drop a follow on my Twitch, and we will see you soon. Thanks for listening in. Y'all have a great day.